is ready to export fever drugs to China amid Covid surge. And so we know that there has been a massive Covid surge in China and the Covid cases have been rising exponentially. And amid all of this, India is ready to export fever drugs to China. Government believes in Maitri for all in distress, and India is ready to help China in all the ways, in all the possible ways it can. So there has been a massive surge in Covid cases in China, and due to the Omicron BF7 variant, and now India is ready to export fever drugs to China. Our senior editor Pallavi Ghosh is joining us to give us more details on this. Pallavi, over to you.
So the only thing over here is that this doesn't distract the attention away from the fact that India is concerned about the Chinese action at the LAC. But when this question was specifically, in fact, asked yesterday, the Indian government and sources are also telling us that India believes in Maitri. And remember, at the peak of COVID, in Delta phase 2, India had, as a part of the COVID Maitri, given away vaccines to many countries in Maldives and other areas, Bermudas and all those areas as well. So that's what our government sources are saying, that we are ready to offer the very critical fever medicines which China is falling short of. After all, India is one of the major players in the world of pharmacy, and therefore we can help them out. Of course, it all depends on the Chinese also, whether they are ready to take help. Also, very quickly, Anjali, if you remember the last time round, when COVID was at its peak and China was going through trouble, it had actually refused any kind of help from any countries in the world. And the result is there to see now.
All right, Pallavi. And can we also expect the export of vaccines in the coming days, as the cases in China are increasing exponentially? And also we've learned that the efficacy of the Chinese vaccines is not that great as compared to the Indian vaccines.
So what government is also saying is that, one should not be too alarmed by the situation in China, because it was a disaster waiting to happen, because the Chinese had refused to take vaccine from any other country in the world, preferring to give their own vaccines to the people, which is fair enough. But the vaccines clearly were not effective. The problem in China is that extremely low immunity of the people. They suddenly open up the country and they have not been able to deal with it. Also, very small part of the population in China is actually vaccinated. And therefore, today China is seeing the kind of disaster that we are seeing. So as far as India is concerned, well, we've offered our vaccines even at a time when the COVID was in its peak across the world. I know there were many people who criticized India, but countries like Bermudas and countries like Maldives actually thanked the Indian Prime Minister, thanking him that, you've helped us out during bad times. So India's foreign policy is based on one simple thing, on the emotional and the sentimental factor. That's what our sources are telling us. If any country needs our help, if India has a surplus, then we are ready to offer any kind of help.
Right, Pallavi. Thank you for giving us all those details.